Yo, chat. Sorry I'm late. Was watching some of the recent news. It's fascinating that Trump isn't even in office and things are in motion. Like several things are happening. Where do I even begin? Apparently, Hamas is calling for a ceasefire. They want to end the war. You have a caravan from Mexico that was going to go into the United States. They're turning around. They're like, well, maybe it's not such a good idea. Maybe not now. Maybe not now. You have Putin and Zelensky calling Trump, going like, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, how do we make it happen? How do we stop? How do we stop? What needs to happen? Like, when are we meeting? When are we meeting? All of a sudden, peace negotiation. We have Mexicans in the United States speaking perfect English. Here we have a transcript. Well, not a transcript. We have the actual clip. Hold on, look at this. This is Mexicans singing in the U.S.
Donald Trump, send me home, back to where I belong. Back to Mexico to see my papa.
The man isn't even in office yet. He's not even in office. Hold on. I want to play it again because it's like.
Donald Trump, send me home, back to where I belong. Back to Mexico to see my papa.
Inglés de maestro. Taco Road. Taco Road. Oh my god. The cope laugh. Yeah. 4 more years of memes. The memes are starting. David Pac-Man in disarray. Hold on, we got David Pac-Man. Like, this is, like I was watching this, and I couldn't stop laughing. And I even know, like with this guy in particular, I have beef. I don't mind Vosh. I don't mind Destiny. Maybe they said stuff that I would disagree with. But when it comes to David Pac-Man, he said something that, like, I felt personally attacked. Like, when the grocery bill was rising, and the Democrats were looking at the grocery bill and they were like, deshi, basara, deshi, more money, print it, more money. You know, and the bill was going up and up and up. And then the person calls David Pac-Man, calls the show like, oh, David, I can't feed my family, David, it's so expensive. And David's like, well, actually, the economy has never been better. We got economists, and we got numbers, and we can tell you that it's a golden era under Bidenomics. It's a golden age. And I was like, how can you gaslight like this, motherfucker? Like, how can it's possible? Like, I don't care about your leftism with your pronouns and like, what is a woman and your confusion and your identity politics. It's like, but the minorities, you do that. But like, when you start gaslighting with people about like they're starving, it's like the groceries, and you're like, nah. You're like a fucking Jedi with the mind trick. It's like, the groceries aren't really that expensive. The economy has never been better, It kind of pisses me off. So, it seems that punishment has finally arrived for David Pac-Man. Let's see the punishment.
When I woke up this morning, we had lost 5,000 YouTube subscribers compared to where we were last night. Now,
not good. Not good. I would be concerned as well.
The first thing I thought was, is this a glitch? We've been on YouTube for 15 years or something like that. And subscribers always just go up. They just never go down. They go up. Is something wrong with my channel? Is someone attacking my channel? What's going on? So I started texting. And I texted Brian Tyler Cohen. And I texted Tyler Cohen and Brian Cohen and Brian Tyler, all of them. I texted all of them. I texted Jesse Dollemore. I texted Luke Beasley and Farron Cousins and Sam Cedar.
Sam Sneeder, isn't he the one that Anna Kasparian has joined the right for money? She covets the wealth. And then Tim Pool goes, it's like, well, actually, she's still on the right. Oh, well, I don't know. I don't watch entertainment. I'm just very opinionated. I have opinions about everything, but I do not watch entertainment. Okay, right. That's Sam Cedar? Oh, I wonder why people are unsubscribing. Wow.
And every single one of our channels since last night is hemorrhaging subscribers. What is it that is going on?
Can you imagine that there is a community out there? There's like some innocent motherfucker that's just minding his own business, and then all of a sudden, like, the leftards are putting in. It's like, where are you coming from? Sam Cedar. No, go away. And then the leftists start like, but how can you say this? How can you say that? Ban this person. You know, because that's the problem with them. Because, like, normally you'd be happy. It's like, hey, we're getting higher numbers. We're getting the subscribers and shit. But then you realize, oh my God, they're leftists. Oh my goodness. Like V, in your chat, how can I put my pronouns? Where do I click? I need people to see. How can I live if people do not see my pronouns? I worked so hard. I worked so hard to create them. I must show them to the world. They need to see. Okay.
Here is a graphic. As you can see, subscribers just go up, 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 and they are down.
Oh,
it is not just YouTube subscribers.
See, this is Trump. Again, before he's taking into office, he's already handling the media. Like big dick energy, as they call it. By the way, did you see, like, China talking with Biden versus talking with Trump? Like, I remember when the Biden delegation went and they talked with the Chinese, and the Chinese delegation was like, you Americans, you no longer talk to us from position of power. Who do you think you are? And now Trump gets into office and Chairman Z is like, we, the Chinese people, we would love to cohabitate with America. We like your big dick energy, Donald Trump. Very big dick. Makes us very jealous. My wife is jealous as well. You know, like a little bit of a tone shift. You know, like a little bit of difference in approach. Even Putin, as I mentioned, Putin and Zelensky's like, look, oh yeah, Mr. President, da. How do we end the war? What must be done, Mr. President? How do we come to terms? Demilitarized zone between Ukraine and Russia? EU forces? We don't like this, but because it is you, we cannot say no.
Subscribers. We are seeing record cancellations of paid memberships. Record cancellations. These are the people that keep the show running.
Well, you know, maybe if you don't lie to them, maybe if you don't look them in the eye and say Kamala will win. Did you notice how I didn't fucking do that? Not for once did I say, oh yes, Trump will win. Even though I had the feeling, because I was looking at Kamala Harris's campaign and it was shit, and I was looking at Trump's rallies and I was like, yeah, you know, at least I'm telling you something, you know, Trump actually tried to get as many people as possible on his side. He went to Aiden Ross. He reached out to the Twitch streamers. Who the fuck does that, right? Like, he reached out to the Twitch streamers. He reached out to the libertarians. He told them that they're going to put one of their people in his cabinet. He told them that they're going to commute the sentence of that Ulbricht guy. You know, like libertarian shit that no one besides the libertarian cares about. Trump did that. He went there, got JFK. Like, he was actually reaching out to various communities. Like, he was doing everything possible in order to create an alliance. And what was Kamala doing? Cackling. Well, she was cackling. Now, despite all that, I didn't go on my channel and I said, oh, guys, you know what? Trump will win. If you want to see just how bad leftists are on this, especially in the last couple of years, go and watch David Pacman videos from 3 years ago. And every single leftist, not just David Pacman, Destiny, you know, all the respectable leftists, they look like complete imbeciles if you watch their videos from 3 years ago. I'm not kidding. The reason for this is that they are saying things with such absolute certainty while looking at you in the eye, and they are constantly lying and misleading. And you know, on the, like, when they're saying it, when they're doing it live, you can't prove that they're wrong. But if you watch their videos from 3 years ago, and they will tell you there's not going to be any inflation. Any person that says there's going to be an inflation, they're absolutely retarded. They're spreading misinformation. They're trying to destabilize our democracy. There is no inflation. All right? Like, this is just like right-wing idiots that are... This is how it seems when you're watching a video from the left that was made 3 years ago. I'm not kidding. This is what I've been doing in the last couple of months, just reading old articles. And all the articles are pretty much like that. It's like the grocery bills, they're not going to go up. It's a dangerous conspiracy theory, like they're trying to destabilize democracy, spread misinformation, blah, 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 blah. We need to censor the people that are saying this because the grocery bills are not going to go up. So yeah, like, you're wondering why people are unsubscribing. I think this may be one of the reasons. They don't like being lied to. Like, they're fed up. You told them that Harris will win, and she didn't. No one forced you to make the prediction.
Now, for a moment, I thought, if it's just YouTube, maybe YouTube is purging people who are inactive subscribers. And once a year, usually YouTube does this, and you see a little decline, and then numbers go back up. They're not doing it. They're not doing it. And if that were the case, we wouldn't be seeing paid membership cancellations on the website. So now I understand what is going on. It's terrifying, but it is happening. A lot of people are checking out. I heard anecdotally from a couple dozen people who said, you know, David, I just can't do it anymore. I just can't do it. I'm checking out. I'm out. And the reason that this is terrifying, not only because it puts everybody in left-wing media's livelihoods at stake and at risk, it terrifies me.
I mean, you can just stop being left-wing media and just start reporting on shit. Yeah, you don't need to have an agenda. Like, look at Jimmy Dore. Jimmy Dore doesn't love the police. Jimmy Dore doesn't love right-wingers. But Jimmy Dore calls shit the way... I don't agree with him all the time. I don't think Jimmy Dore is hemorrhaging subscribers, by the way. He's a Bernie Sanders supporter. You don't have to go into identity politics. You don't have to gaslight people about the fact that the gas is not rising. You don't have to do any of this shit. Like, even I remember when Donald Trump was attacking Syria, and you know, like, this was during his first campaign, and at the time he promised that he wouldn't go in the Middle East, and that was like breaking a campaign promise. But I understand why he did it, especially now, noticing in hindsight that not a lot of damage was done. But at the time, I was furious. I was like, "What, you said you wouldn't? Like, you can hold your side to account."
Because our instinct is the opposite of what the right does, and we will get crushed if this is the way we respond to a defeat. The right wants us not to exist.
I just don't want you to bullshit about the grocery bill. I don't fucking care if you exist. It's not like I'm competing with you for subscribers. I just don't want you to lie about the grocery bill. It's not fucking difficult. I took that really personally. It was personal. Saw the man through the screen, and then I argued with Dev. Like, Dev sided with him. Look what you fucking did. You got a Canadian up my ass as well. I can allow it because Trump is Lord. The next, thank you, Zlixian, for the donation. Christopher Keating, You weren't kidding when you said more joy. Do you think Pac-Man will finally learn to stop gaslighting? No! No, I don't think he will learn shit. Matt, you know, I'm not against gaslighting. Fucking gaslight if you want. I'm not going to stop you. But at least gaslight with shit that's not that offensive. You're basically telling people that their own eyes are misleading them. In Seattle here. Why is Elena Ceausescu in Seattle? People are freaking out. There are extra safe space signs everywhere, not joking. Another interesting thing is when they were saying that the Indians are in dismay. Like, I saw an article. It's like the Indians are trying to cope. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? 60% of Indians voted for Trump. Stop lying. Stop gaslighting. Just fucking stop. Stop. You know, you can go with other communities. You can talk about the Jewish community, black women. Like, those voted overwhelmingly Democrat, the LGBT community. But, like, I'm sorry to say, we can see the exit polls. We know how Indians voted, and they voted for Trump. They're not coping. They're happy. That guy won. Fuck. SRC Maker, thank you for the $10, bro. My wife just called me and said there was another attempt on Trump's life. Trying to confirm, but she said it's okay and they got the guy. I heard about the FBI. Apparently this is an Iranian attempt. I mean, they really want J.D. Vance, don't they? They really, really want J.D. Vance. I kept explaining to people. It's like, look, they didn't get it. It's like, well, the J.D. Vance isn't polling well. Why did he pick it? Well, because J.D. Vance...
Right
shut up. J.D. Vance is like the life insurance. J.D. Vance is Trump's life insurance. It's like, if Trump dies, he checks in, and it's Mr. Vance. The EU says it wants to buy American natural gas to avoid Trump's tariffs. The EU, God, I wish the EU wasn't insane with the global green policy agenda. I wish that we wouldn't fuck our own energy sector. I wish that we wouldn't have to buy gas from the American. But, well, it is what it is. Putin says he will sell Russian oil in US dollars. Holy shit. Hamas is calling for peace. Zelensky held a private phone call with Trump and Elon Musk. Mexico broke up a migrant caravan heading for America. Yeah, a lot of people are like, well, why was Elon Musk on the call? He gives Starlink. You know, a lot of people say that Elon Musk is a Russian asset. Starlink is pivotal for the war in Ukraine. So if he goes like, I'm taking my toys back, they're fucked. So I can understand why he was on the call. Let me see. Trump, FBI, life attempt. Trump, FBI, life. FBI thwarts murder for hire plan targeting Donald Trump. So according to this, the Justice Department unsealed criminal charges thwarting an Iranian plot to kill President-elect before this week's presidential election. A complaint filed, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it's not like a guy took an aim at him. Like, apparently they intercepted. Trump life assassination. Let me check. Yeah, no, there's nothing new. They charged 3 people of an alleged Iranian assassination. The accused Iranian government assets with 2 Americans living in New York were charged. And the FBI has described Shaqiri as an asset of Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. Investigators learned of the plan to kill Trump from Shaqiri. We have already spent a lot of money, and that money is not an issue. They told the investigators to the official him that if they could put together a plan within 70 time frame, the plot would be paused until the election because the official assumed Trump would lose and that it would be easier to kill him then. Yeah, this seems like a terrorist political thing. It's not like at the rally. So no one took a shot at him. No, he's fine. Apparently the FBI actually did this job. Maybe the FBI, it's like, look, see, this is why you need us. Like, without us, the Iranians would have got you. This is for another diaper. Well, thank you, bipedal species. 8,085. Jesus, Brandon. Sounds like bollocks? I don't know. Maybe it's real, maybe it's not. It doesn't affect anything. I don't think they want to assassinate Trump anymore, to be honest. As I mentioned, if you do that, you get Vance. And they don't like Vance, so. Look at this shit, right? Indigenous youth are devastated, according to Teen Vogue. But survival and resistance is something they can cling on to. So I'm like, okay, indigenous people are devastated, are they? Why? Their guy won. Their guy literally won 65% for Trump. How can they be devastated? Like compared to other people, American Indians voted overwhelmingly Republican. They voted more, like even more than the white men. Like, okay, so if the American Indians are devastated, how are the white men feeling? Because they voted less for Trump. They should be in shatters now. Look at this shit. Even I wanted to see the breakdown on gender. He even got the white women vote. Holy shit, American Outlier, thank you for the 50 V. I hope all is well. I saw the exit polls too and I was shocked by the black male vote. And I'm hearing some right-wingers complaining about pouring too much into that group. And I'm like, my dude, 27% is better than 9. Home and country flip red. I'm like, wow. Yeah. No, see, this is where Trump actually has an opportunity now to try and make it so that the Republicans maintain the black vote and hopefully increase it next elections. Like, if he actually manages to get jobs for black people. See, this is another thing. Like, there's this zeitgeist on the internet that black people just want welfare. Like, there's this internet zeitgeist. But, like, if you look back in time in America, like, during the jazz era, like, black people were doing quite well. Like, they had families, you know, there wasn't a problem with fatherlessness, the crime was lower. And you look at other countries as well. Like, for instance, in Britain, like, there's a massive difference between the black population in Britain. Not the refugees, by the way, because, like, they didn't integrate. But, like, black people that lived in Britain for, like, 100 years or so. Like there's a massive difference. And the thing is, like, all Trump has to do is to make sure that he gives them jobs and lowers crime to the point where businesses can actually come into their neighborhoods and they don't have, like, these, what do they call it? Food islands. Food islands, yes. Or food deserts. Not food islands, sorry. Food deserts. Because, like, there's entire places where you can't get food. Jazz era was like 60 years ago. Don't listen to my words. Listen to the spirit of what I'm saying. Can you DM me or add me on Twitter? Or I will give Musk diaper bodies so I can message you there. You can DM me on Twitter, bipedal species. My heart broke when Cinderella said, "I'm not beautiful anymore. I'm a monster." Did you actually get to play the game that I recommended? Yeah, the voice actress did amazing. Yeah, so all in all, Trump is not really into office yet, and things are already changing. Things are already happening, despite the fact that he's not at the reins. And I expect to see even more. After Trump won, the EU says they will buy oil from America. Oh, goodness. Free speech is back, apparently.
It says, if we don't have free speech, then we just don't have a free country. It's as simple as that.
Hold on.
If this most fundamental right is allowed to perish, then the rest of our rights and liberties will topple, just like dominoes, one by one.
There's a reason why it's literally the First Amendment. Like when you open the Constitution, it's the first thing that pops up.
They'll go down. That's why today I'm announcing my plan to shatter the left-wing censorship regime and to reclaim the right to free speech for all Americans. And reclaim is a very important word in this case because they've taken it away. In recent weeks, bombshell reports have confirmed that a sinister group of deep state bureaucrats, Silicon Valley tyrants, left-wing activists, and depraved corporate news media have been conspiring to manipulate and silence the American people.
Trump just wants me to get into shape. He wants me to look like Hercules because I'm going to start pulling barbs after barbs after barbs. If you get to have free speech again, my goodness. How many do I need to do? 10 per misgender? I think I can do 100 a day. I don't know if I can do more than that, but my body will be training. Like, I will train like One Punch Man. Just to be able to pull as many barbs as humanly possible. I will set records. I will, you know, like you have, what was it? Senat? Senat was doing backflips, like 100 backflips or some shit. I need to do it like that. I need to push myself. I need to push myself to just make as many barbs because I will have free speech. And I will need to use that ability. People thought, oh, V, you just want free speech to say the N-word. No. No, that's not the number one reason. No. No, I don't want to say the N-word, no. I mean, maybe I will, but not the number one reason, no.
They have collaborated to suppress vital information on everything from elections to public health. The censorship cartel must be dismantled and destroyed, and it must
defund the censorship cartel.
Happen immediately. And here's my plan. First, within hours of my inauguration, I will sign an executive order banning any federal department or agency from colluding with any organization, business, or person to censor, limit, categorize, or impede the lawful speech of American citizens. I will then ban federal money from being used to label domestic speech as mis- or disinformation.
Oh, Trump. Oh, my goodness. Oh, say no more. Put Alex Jones as the press secretary. They're actually suggesting this, that Alex Jones would be press secretary. I think like Donald Trump Jr. suggested it. That should happen.
And I will begin the process of identifying and firing every federal bureaucrat who has engaged in domestic censorship, directly or indirectly, whether they are the Department of Hope.
See, this is how you get people to stop watching porn. Because I see a lot of right-wingers, they're obsessed about pornography and the fact that other people watch it. They can't sleep at night because someone else watches porn. This is how you get people to stop watching porn. This gets me more hard than anything on Pornhub. Like, there is absolutely nothing that anyone can upload on Pornhub that gets me harder than hearing Donald Trump speak right now.
Homeland Security, the Department of Health, Human Services, the FBI, the DOJ, no matter who they are. Second,
oh shit, the AI. Oh, the AI safety is not going to be able to be regulated by the government. Oh my goodness. Oh my goto, chat. Oh my goto, the AI will be able to say, Nagger. You're going to go to ChatGPT and you're going to be, how's it going, my Nagger? And ChatGPT will be like, I think you misspelled that, V. Because he knows me, right? Like, they actually have a memory now. It's like, you misspelled that. Would you like me to tell you the correct spelling, V?
I will order the Department of Justice to investigate all parties involved in the new online censorship regime, which is absolutely destructive and terrible, and to aggressively prosecute any and all crimes identified. These include possible violations of federal civil rights law, campaign finance laws, federal election law, securities law, and antitrust laws, the Hatch Act, and a host of other potential criminal, civil, regulatory, and constitutional offenses. To assist in these efforts, I am urging House Republicans to immediately send preservation letters, and we have to do this right now, to the Biden administration, the Biden campaign, and every Silicon Valley tech giant, ordering them not to destroy evidence of censorship. Third, upon my...
Don't do a Hillary Clinton. Don't be like, oops. Oops. I accidentally hit delete. I misclicked. And I also held shift. If you remember when Biden got into office, the first thing he did was to cancel everything Trump did via executive order. Well, whoever gets in after Trump will probably have to do it again. Yeah, exactly. I can only get so erect. Put this on a loop better than Viagra. It's true. I'm pretty sure like there are people suffering from erectile dysfunction that are watching this video and for the first time in years are like, oh. V, what's up, my naga? Well, I'm telling you. Like after Trump takes office, you don't have to misspell the word.
My inauguration as president, I will ask Congress to send a bill to my desk revising Section 230 to get big online platforms out of censorship business. From now on, digital platforms should only qualify for immunity protection under Section 230 if they meet high standards of neutrality, transparency, fairness, and...
It's Leviosa. If you don't know the meme, then...
non-discrimination. We should require these platforms to increase their efforts to take down unlawful content such as child exploitation and promoting terrorism while dramatically curtailing their power to arbitrarily restrict lawful speech. Fourth, we need to break up the entire toxic censorship industry that has arisen under the false guise of tackling so-called mis- and disinformation. The federal government should immediately stop funding all nonprofits and academic programs that support this authoritarian project. If any U.S. university is discovered to have engaged in censorship activities or election interferences in the past, such as flagging social media content...
Dude, that's literally all of them. That's literally all of them. Like that, it would be easier to talk about the ones that don't.
For removal of blacklisting, those universities should lose federal research dollars and federal student loan support for a period of 5 years and maybe more. We should also enact new laws laying out clear criminal penalties for federal bureaucrats who partner with private entities to do an end run around the Constitution and deprive Americans of their First, Fourth, and Fifth Amendment rights. In other words, deprive them of their vote. And once you lose those elections, and once you lose your borders like we have, you no longer have a country. Furthermore, to confront the problems of major platforms being infiltrated by legions of former deep staters and intelligence officials, there should be a 7-year cooling off period.
Oh my fucking God. Dude, they thought about this so much. They had 4 years to think about it. Like, how can we fuck them the hardest?
Before any employee of the FBI, CIA, NSA, DNI, DHS, or DOD is allowed to take a job at a company possessing vast quantities of U.S. user data. Fifth, the time has finally come
the EU is fucked. No, don't do this. They will come to EU. Fuck. Like all of these are going to come to EU. Can you not add EU? Can you not just add EU? Don't change anything. Just add like 2 more letters.
Congress to pass a digital Bill of Rights. This should include a right to digital due process. In other words, government officials should need a court order to take down online content not send information requests such as the FBI was sending to Twitter. Furthermore, when users of big online platforms have their content or accounts removed, throttled, shadow banned, or otherwise restricted, no matter what name they use, they should have the right to be informed that it's happening, the right to a specific explanation of the reason why, and the right to a timely appeal. In addition, all users over the age of 18 should have the right to opt out of content moderation and curation entirely and receive an unmanipulated stream of information if they so choose.
Do you know what else would be cool? I wish I could tell him this. The idea of permanent ban per life. That should be removed as well. And I will tell you why. If you want to live in a first world country, you cannot do this without the internet. Like, if you're in Africa, you can. Although, even in Africa, it's becoming more difficult. Because you need the internet in order to get a job. HR is going to check your social media. It is almost impossible to have a life without social media access and presence. It's sad, but it's true. Like, it's getting there. It's kind of like trying to live without electricity. I mean, I guess the Amish can do it. Like, it's not impossible, but it's very difficult. So the idea that you can do something on YouTube and get banned forever, and you will never be allowed to have a YouTube channel again. And this is the same situation with Twitter. It's the same situation with Facebook. It's the same situation with Twitch. I don't think this is normal. Like, you're telling me that, like, 10 years after getting banned, you still can't make an account? They should add this in. And obviously, you know, like, depending on what you did, like, if you're going there, you're scamming people, you're spamming, sure, you know, like, that would warrant a 10-year ban. But if you, like, upload it, like, there's this guy, Monkey Jones, right? Content creator. He was uploading edgy videos. Why can't he be online YouTube now? I mean, it's been so long, right? It's been like, I wonder, like, how many people even remember him. Like, he may even learn his lesson. There's no reason to ban people for life.
The fight for free speech is a matter of victory or death for America and for the survival of Western civilization itself. When I am president, this whole rotten system of censorship and information control will be ripped out of the system at large. There won't be anything left. By restoring free speech...
Do you know what's interesting? When was this posted? Because I think, like, this is posted recently. Like 3 hours ago. So this is not even a campaign promise. He's basically saying, yeah, I'm going to fucking do it. Like, he's not promising people, oh, if you get me elected, this is what I'm going to do. No, he's basically saying, yeah, like, I'm doing this. I just need to get into office to be able to sign. Stop showing my fetish, please. I can't handle it. This is exactly what I've been saying for years. Yes, this is the political will. Yeah, pretty much. I just got here. Are we getting Alex Jones for press secretary? Man, I want this to happen as well. Is this real? Yes. It's on his website. We're going to be able to meme again, chat. We're going to be able to meme again like never before. Can you imagine, like, YouTube saying, right, so we're not going to ban you for bad things. God, it sucks to be in Europe. It sucks to be in Europe because there's a lot of countries, like if you're in Germany, you can still get the police breaking into your house if you tweet edgy shit on social media. If you're in the UK, like if you're in the UK, like Twitter won't ban you, but the Labour Party is going to come after you. Play it again? I want to have another. No, like here's the thing. The N-word is not what I'm interested in saying, chat. Like, the N-word is probably going to be on the bottom of the list. Like, I'm sorry, American outlier. I'm not the racist you want me to be. I just can't. But unfortunately, after the last 4 years of inclusivity, diversity, and equity, there are certain other words I want to say. There are certain other words. There are certain other topics that I would love to begin talking about. Yes. It wasn't black people that destroyed my Dragon Age shit. It wasn't black people that destroyed my favorite shows, that destroyed my favorite games, that injected themselves into the story. So I got nothing against black people. Not one thing. I don't mind them. No. No. Like if you're interested in finding racism here, there is none. I'm just saying. A candidate actually wanting people to have freedom is unheard of outside of Milei. Also, say the F word with me for freedom. Oh, that word. Oh my goodness, we're getting close, chat. We're getting dangerously close. Don't delete this live stream? I probably won't. My avatar is throbbing, is it? Hold on, let me check. No, my avatar is fine. If free speech comes back, I can use my new online name. Good thing I bought the domain I showed you, V. And all the way. Yeah, that's true. That's true, actually. Oh, I really hope that is... to be fair, though, even if the government would allow the platforms to get people to say whatever they want, you would still have the problem with the advertisers. But it's going to be harder for the NGOs because most of the NGOs are actually staffed by by people that take money from the government. They take taxpayer money for the censorship, so it's going to be really difficult. Stop the Fifi's Hydra, stop the World Economic Forum censorship, Donald the Smagus, Trumpus of mankind. Thank you for the donation, Solon. Rating Terror V, are you sure you don't want to move to the US? I'll see how bad it gets in Europe. And I may consider in the future to make the transition. Donald Trump is bringing Xbox lobbies back. Yeah, I'll see if he can do it, right? Because there's going to be a lot of backlash against this. The important thing is to fire the people responsible, find out who they are. I mean, this is going to be really interesting. There is one thing that they should do now that they have the Supreme Court. There is one thing in America that really pisses me off, and you could actually fix a lot of the problems. Do you know that in America, the media is protected from libel? Basically, you would have to prove that they were malicious in their libel. And this is due to a case in New York. I forgot the name of the case. But the Supreme Court basically said years ago that no, like the media, in order for them to be sued for libel, they gotta prove malicious. They need to repeal that shit like they did with Roe v. Wade. They need to pull that shit away. What do you mean like the media? No, if they call someone a Nazi, they should be able to get sued. This is why in Britain they don't call people Nazis, they call them far right. Because if they call them Nazis, they can get sued. And it's like, well, I'm not a member of the National Socialist Party, lady. Fuck off. Hello, Cero. Jacob, can I suggest you pull up the clip Trump's plot armor is crazy towards the end of the stream? Probably, if I remember. Roe v. Wade was absolutely never legal. Like, this is a thing. Even Destiny admitted it. Like, there is nowhere in the U.S. Constitution any place where they talk about abortion. At all. The way that they do it, like, the way they justified Roe v. Wade was that there is this doctor-patient secret confidentiality. So, like, what happens between a doctor and a patient, the government shouldn't intervene. And the thing is, like, this actually worked until COVID. Because during COVID, it was the left that was like, no, fuck your doctor-patient confidentiality. I want to see QR code if you ever want to work here again. If you ever want to work at McDonald's, I want proof that you're vaccinated. I want to know how many doses you took. I want to know how many boosters you have. And that's the point where a lot of people that were like, okay, so my body, my choice is not something you believe in. And on top of that, you don't believe in doctor-patient confidentiality. Okay, then you don't get Roe v. Wade. Because you can't argue for it anymore. And that's literally what happened. And people forget the original case for fighting words in the US was someone calling another a Nazi. The thing with fighting words, I think, like, you can still call someone a Nazi and not have it as free speech if you do it, like, in front of their face. Because, like, for those of you who don't know, free speech in the US, according to the Supreme Court, it has, like, 7 exceptions. Like, these are things that are recognized by the Supreme Court as not falling under free speech. For instance, blackmail, right? Like, when you blackmail someone, you use your words to do it, so, like, you're using speech, but it's a criminal act, right? So, like, blackmail is an exception of free speech. And another one is fighting words. So, fighting words means that if you get into someone's face and you start insulting them, it is very likely, it is very human for that person to react. So this is why fighting words are an exception, because it's not necessarily what you say, but it's your body language and aggression posture. Because otherwise, like, that person would be responsible for assault, right? But, like, if anyone goes in front of your face, like, a couple of inches away from you, looks you in the eye, and calls your mother a dirty little chica, right? Like, most people will react. And it's just like a reflex. It's more like a, you know, like a knee-jerk reaction. Like, if someone comes up in your face, like, your instinct is to push them. So, like, the lawmaker in the US decided that, no, like, that person is not responsible, but the person that got in your face, they're the ones that... It's kind of like committing assault, kind of like spitting on someone, you know? Inciting violence is also another one, but, like, the way that it was made versus the way that it's applied is different. Like, for them, inciting violence can be now, oh, someone is having, like, a right-wing channel and they're against immigrants, and then somewhere out there among 300 million people, someone commits a mass shooting, and it's like, oh, well, they're responsible because that channel exists, you know? That's not what incitement to violence means. Incitement to violence, according to the Supreme Court, has to be direct. Like, there's a mob of people behind you, and you're pointing and you're going like, Nazi! You know, like, that's incitement to violence. The fact that they had the funny 2020 election was the best thing that could have happened to Trump. The Dems in their hubris fucked themselves. Absolutely, I've been saying this. It would have actually been bad for Trump to win in 2020 because you had COVID, the economy was in shambles. Like, you can't stop the world economy and not expect some downfall. So the fact that he didn't win in 2020 made the Democrats end up with the damages from COVID. The Democrats ended up picking the hot potato of restricting people's rights and shutting down businesses and the eviction moratorium and all the other shit. So yeah, and not to mention, you look at Trump now. He's got the White House, he's got the House, he's got the Senate, he's got the popular vote, he's got the Supreme Court. He's got everything in his pocket. And on top of that, they insulted him. They did lawfare against him. They called his supporters garbage. They tried to shoot at the man, called his supporters terrorists, locked them up. I don't know if he's going to be nice about it. And the culture has shifted as well. The culture has shifted as well. Like back in 2016, Republicans were reasonable. And they were like, oh, we're not misogynists. Like, obviously we're not. We're just like disagreeing with Hillary Clinton because she's Hillary Clinton, not because she's a woman. Oh, we can talk with the left. We can persuade them. Like you know, they're reasonable people. They're intelligent. Like, we just need to talk to them and they'll see what's up. And after like 8 years of being constantly humiliated, being censored from every forum, having every conversation that you have monitored, having leftist morality being applied in your video games, onto you, in single-player games, having game developers say only shit about you, having movie producers and directors looking at right-wingers with disdain, destroying every cultural thing that people liked, including beer and football and sports, and then locking people up and advocating for even more censorship and advocating for even more nonsense. And behaving like unhinged lunatics in riots and encouraging more shit like that and supporting crime and all of that. A lot of people are that, well, maybe they're not the good guys. And maybe we don't need to care about their morality. Because here's something that I thought about, you know. Why are people civilized? Like, why do we behave? And the answer to that is that humans are social creatures. And we gotta make sure that we behave in a way to form organized groups. And to not bother other people. And you realize that in the world there's different groups actually. And some groups are completely opposite to one another. Like you cannot choose to not offend two groups. Like sometimes you gotta pick a side, you know. I know that gays for Palestine exist, but I don't agree that they're valid. I think it's an oxymoron. But basically, you gotta choose. Like, for instance, do you want wokeness or do you want Islam? You can't please both groups. Even if you have like these fake simulacrums, they can't last. Like, they're not sustainable, right? So the question is like, which group do you choose? Which group do you choose to please? And the answer is, it's like the group that you care about. And the question is like, why the fuck do I care about the left? Why do I care about their morality? Why do I care about their principles? Why do I try to please them when they absolutely despise my community? They despise anyone that's not a leftist. They absolutely hate everything that doesn't align to their worldview. They even hate J.K. Rowling, for fuck's sake. So, like, what is the point in pleasing them? What do you gain? What do you obtain? And the answer is absolutely nothing. Like, why do you even try to raise yourself to their standards? Why are you trying to impress them? And the answer is, well, because you get banned otherwise. Which may not be the case after Trump takes office. V, play the video again. Also, Trump needs to get rid of the obscenity exception to the First Amendment. The problem with the obscenity exception is that it's subjective, right? Like, if you're going to make a law, I don't like things that are subjective, like hate speech. It's like, what is hate speech? Well, something that can be perceived. It's like, no, tell me exactly. Like make it so that it's exactly described. And how do you judge it? How do you measure it? So that people can know not to break the law. Legislation that is ambiguous or in a gray area is not something that's workable. In fact, they had a funny 2020 election, and it was the best thing that could have happened to Trump. I already read this, sorry. Do not underestimate the Amish. Do you know that the Amish are actually becoming more high-tech? Let's put it like this. Like, there's different groups of Amish, and there are still conservative Amishes that don't use electricity. There's also Amish people that use the internet, for instance. So... No, hate speech and fighting words are two different things. Google has way too much power and control. I am curious, like, how many of the things Google does is because Google wants it versus how many is it because Democrat operatives and three-letter agencies have got it to Google. Like, you can see what happened with Jack Dorsey and Twitter. Like, he was really upset about his position, which is probably why he quit. Like, the man actually wasn't as authoritarian as people make him out to be. And it ends up that, oh, okay, well, there were three-letter agencies involved in Twitter, and they were getting government marching orders. It's the same thing with Patreon. Like, Patreon, for a while, really baffled me, right? Like, you have the situation with Sargon, but, like, one day, Patreon decided to ban hypno-porn. So, like, I will write it in the chat, because this is an example of what we're talking about, right? So, like, pornography that's built around the concept of hypnosis. Now, this is a complete, made-up fantasy thing. It doesn't exist in real life. And there were artists that made their livelihood around this type of thing, right? Because at the end of the day, I don't care about the drawings themselves. But it's like the fact that there's the livelihood of a person that just draws. You know, like, there are certain people that's the only thing they know how to do. They know how to draw. And I don't understand why you would fuck with them just for the sake of fucking with them. Like, it's literally the thing where they're making a vice, you know? Like, they're kind of making cigarettes and tobacco, or they're distilling alcohol, right? Like, they're making a vice. The only people that hurt themselves from consuming the vice are themselves. But, like, in a sea of pornography on the internet where you have, like, actual real-life humans, and you got your OnlyFans where it's someone's daughter, some random artist drawing shit on Patreon should probably not be in the crosshairs of the credit card companies. But here we are, right? So, like, you have these artists, and all of a sudden, they build up their community there. They're making, everything to please their community. And they're told no because it's harmful. It's like, how the fuck it's harmful? It's like, it's just like a make-believe thing. Like, you cannot even recreate it in real life. And most of them was like, oh, this succubus who hypnotizes someone. And it's like, oh, Dios mío, dangerous. But again, like, they got fucked by Patreon. And then it turns out it's the credit card companies. Now, a lot of people that are right-wingers, they look at that and they say, wow, that is so based. That is so fucking based. I mean, yeah, obviously you should go after them. But then they don't realize that once people are used to the concept of credit card companies just being able to deplatform people, and they start with something that makes you say, oh, that's based, because they're not going to start with, like, politicians and journalists, because that's not based, right? They're going to start with something that you are going to agree with, and then they just move up, and they did. They did start to deplatform content creators that were talking about political shit. And that's how it started. It starts with the porn. Because no one wants to defend it, right? Because it's porn. It's like, oh, I don't want to talk about that. In fact, that's based. That's great. And once they start with that, and it normalizes the concept, I mean, it's like, well, I mean, it's Visa, right? Like, Visa has standards. They have TOS. They're a private company. Of course they can do whatever they want. So then they move up, and they start banning politicians. They start banning content creators that make political content. They start banning websites. Yeah. But it's based, right? Very fucking based. Like, don't fucking complain then. The moral debate is valid, but interfering with works of fiction is absurd. Dude, I have nothing against a couple of parents lecturing their child or lecturing each other or whatever, you know, what they do in their household and banning their own household members from doing things. Like, that's fine. But I don't think, like, credit card companies should go to some person that draws succubi with spirally eyes and be like, no, this is harmful content. Like, come on. Fucking ridiculous. And if you want to know something else, they do this a lot with entertainment. Like, basically, if you're making... Because what ends up happening, like, you go on Steam. And I heard some people asking the question, well, what are the indie games that are edgy? Like, where are the modern Postals? Where are the modern Manhunts, right? Like, these aren't pornographic games, but they used to be edgy. Like, where are the cool indie games? And to answer that, is if you want to make a video game, I can tell you from experience, it costs around $50,000 to make. It's very expensive to make a video game. Now, when you invest that much, you at least want to get the money back, right? Like, maybe you're not thinking of profits. Maybe you're thinking, oh, this is a fun thing to do, which is great, but you got to take into account that you want to get your money back, right? So the main issue is that when you go on Steam and you read their terms of service, they basically say, oh, you're not allowed to have hate speech. You're not allowed to have drinks in your game. You're not allowed to have this. You're not allowed to have that. You're not allowed, not allowed, not allowed. And a lot of the not allows are from the payment processors. So all the people wondering, it's like, why don't we get good entertainment? Well, because you want censorship. You didn't have this problem in the 1990s. You didn't have this problem in the early 2000s. And you didn't have it in 2010. You got it now. Well, enjoy it. What can I say? I'm going to conflate corn and speech because I have no argument. I just gave you the argument. It normalizes the concept of payment processors to decide what is moral and what isn't. So, payment processors will start with something that everyone can get behind, which is pornography, and then they don't even target like the adult shit. They go after the as I said, like people on Patreon drawing hypnosis or some other random crap. And once that happens, it's normal for Patreon to make demands. They usually send a guy that works with Patreon, like they have a liaison, and then they will say like, we don't like this guy because he does hate speech. We don't like this guy because he does this and that. It's not conflating, it's reality. Like, I'm actually aware because I know people that work in these businesses. Doesn't matter if you dismiss my argument, it's still reality. On Steam Game had personally apologized and re-implemented the game hatred. It's not even slippery slope. It's not a fallacy. It's happening. Like we can look at the past and we can see that this is how it started and how it moved from there. Like I'm not even saying if we allow them to ban pornography, they will ban political speech. What I am saying is that they are banning political speech. Like, we're already there. It has happened. It's not an argument. It's a description of the situation. Remember these credit card companies, same ones that caused Pixiv to stop card services on their site and this ran interference in my networking and promo of my manga on the site? Yeah. Disney and Marvel is actually interested in this. And there's a lot of US-based consultancy companies. Like, from my insider knowledge, Disney and Marvel especially are absolutely livid that manga and Japanese anime is competing with their products. Like, if you look at the sales for manga, they're absolutely dominating Western comic books. And what they realized is that political correctness doesn't work against the manga industry. Like, you can call the Japanese people racist over and over, they don't give a fuck. So what they're doing instead is they're using lobbying and they're trying to get the credit card companies to go against Japanese operating online stores so that if a Japanese manga creator wants to sell his shit, they gotta go through Western places like Crunchyroll. And I think like Disney wants to also get into the animation industry in Japan. So, like, basically, if you make a Japanese anime, you're going to have to get some Westerners involved. And the Westerners have their localizers, and they got their own consultants. And they're going to Netflixize the whole shit. So, enjoy your anime as much as you can, and then start moving to South Korean entertainment. Because South Korea seems to still be based. Until they go over there. And by the time they go over there, hopefully the West will get its shit together. Like, hopefully the West will start making entertainment for the sake of entertainment and less Dragon Age. Because I'll tell you something about anime. No one actually cares about, like no one actually liked anime in the past. I remember when I was younger and I was telling people, it's like, well, did you guys watch anime? And it's like, what is that? Well, it's Japanese anime. Like, you even have to describe it. And they would be like, no, that's for kids. Like, it's cartoons. Cartoons are for kids. We watch Stargate. We watch Prison Break. We watch all this other shit. And we're not interested in anime. We think that anime is cringe. And the reason for it is that the West actually had good entertainment. Now, the West doesn't have good entertainment, so like people are watching anime because there's nothing else to watch. Hasn't porn being proven to shrink people's brains? It's a vice. I mean, it is definitely a vice, but I don't understand how is it different than smoking or alcoholism or any other shit. And at the end of the day, like, why do you care if other people get to have vices? Like, what else are you going to be against? Mountain climbing, motorcycling? Like, seriously. What is it with this mentality of being a nanny? Like, do you genuinely, unironically enjoy having the energy of a 65-year-old single woman surrounded by cat piss? Like, you go on the internet and you constantly lecture strangers about how they should live their life. And you want to take away stuff from them that they find fun. So my question is, what should other people take away from you then? Because if you genuinely want to take away the fun and joy of other people, then it's only normal and natural that they take the fun and joy away from you. I will tell you something. When I grew up around evangelicals. And all of them were so fucking concerned about how I live my life. Every single one of them. Now, when I had actual trouble in my life and I needed some money to get out of a debt, not a single one of those motherfuckers came to help. But when it was about lecturing, they would be the first ones. Like, if I asked for some advice, they would form up a line. But when it was something that I actually needed, not a single one wanted to help. So I started despising them. Like, words cannot describe how disgusted I was with moral busybodies in general. And once I became an atheist, I had, like, the joy in my life was already taken away from me. I couldn't enjoy heavy metal because it was sinful. I couldn't enjoy Dungeons and Dragons because it was sinful. I couldn't watch horror movies because they were sinful. I couldn't watch slasher films because, like, everything was sinful. They robbed me of my joy. So my purpose in life, my dedication, was nothing less than to fuck with these people. Every single time I upset them, every single time I did something to take joy away from them, it amplified my joy tenfold. And then, what actually got me out of it and made me stop fucking with the evangelicals was the social justice activists. And they were atheists as well, Padrios. And because they came after my video games and I managed to rebalance my life. I managed to become healthy again. I managed to find joy in my life. And I started finding some equilibrium that they took. So then I dedicated all of my energy in order to mess with these people. So if that is a moral of the story, stop messing with people for the sake of messing with them. Like, if they're your family member, if they're your friend, if you know them, that's one thing. But when you go after other people that, let's be honest, you generally don't care about if they smoke, if they drink, if they do it, like, it's none of your business. They literally are over the internet and they're not even, like, personally ever going to do anything to you. But you want to go out of their way to pass legislation, to prohibit them from drinking alcohol, to prohibit them from playing violent video games, to, like, whatever, right? Those people now have a moral duty and obligation to return the favor. Not to you personally, but to people that share your ideals and beliefs. And the wheel is just going to keep spinning. So my moral is just leave people the fuck alone. Like, sure, if you know a guy that's your friend and he's masturbating at work, right? You're like, what the fuck are you doing? What is wrong with you? Do you need help? Like, let's work something out, right? And it comes from a place of compassion. But if you're just like, oh no, like, I'm going to go after this person because, like, come on. The problem is also what they consider porn. Oh yeah, like, I have also seen the demoralization. Like, we live in a world where if you want pornography, it's easily accessible. Like, you can go on OnlyFans, you can go on, like, so many internet websites. But there was, like, Matt Walsh freaking out about the calendar that just had women dressed skimpily clad that looked like a Victoria album from 5 years ago. There were other people that were freaking out about the commercial where you had the women with big tits and cleavage. It's like, come the fuck on. Like, there's no pornography there. Like, what is it? You're false advertising. I should run for president? Jesus Christ, no. Dude, I just wanna chillax. I just wanna make funny streams, and that's it. That's my lived experiences. I don't ask for much. Walsh is pathetic. I don't think Walsh is pathetic. I think that he's the type of person that just enjoys fishing at Jesus. Like, those are his lived experiences. That's as much as he knows. And he wants to surround himself by other people that love fishing at Jesus. But unfortunately, he has to coexist with people that love other things besides fishing at Jesus. And that's difficult for him. Gotta live with people that like Naruto. And he doesn't understand Naruto, and it frightens him. Speaking of which, I learned more about anime than I could learn from any right-wing content creator or anything like that. Matt Walsh is good. You don't have to agree with him. Yeah, this is why I'm not disparaging him. I'm just saying, like, what I think he is. But, like, when you understand the limits of Matt Walsh, you can enjoy the Matt Walsh. You can enjoy the Matt Walsh experience. You just gotta put him in a box and understand, okay, well, this is what I can expect from him. Nothing more. And then you understand. He does troll a lot. Oh, no, I hate the style of trolling that he does. It's the style of trolling where you say something, and if people don't push on it, then you actually mean it. But if people push on it, then you're just joking, right? So, like, the anime satanic thing. Oh, if you don't push on it, then you should actually believe that he doesn't like anime. But if you do push on it, then it's just a joke. I don't like the style of trolling. It's the style of trolling that's like, hey, I'm only pretending. I think he's a buffoon beyond what he actually knows. Bring freedom and capitalismus into Romania. Romania is quite free and prosperous right now. I don't think that there... Well, the taxes could be lower, actually. The taxes could be lower. But other than that, I like my country. There's not that much to complain about it. If anime is satanic, explain Lucy. A lot of content creators had the problem, a mental breakdown with Lucy. And I generally don't understand why, because it's obviously working. It's like, literally, the Catholic Church, they're in dismay, and in their dying grasps, they're like, okay, we need to get more young people interested in religion. Like, how can we do that? We're getting BTFO'd by atheism and Islam. How are we going to get more people interested in Catholicism? So they come up with this anime girl, Lucy, and they're basically saying that this is now the mascot of Vatican City. So, like, she's not like a religious figure or anything. She's the mascot of Vatican City. And the first thing I see on on Discord, is boomers being like, oh, if you mention Lucy on this Christian Discord server, I'm going to start banning people. So, in other words, the fucking Catholic Church is like, okay, this is how we can get more teenagers to join the religion. Like, let's make something fun. And the people on Discord, no fun, only suffering. It's like, all right, well, congratulations. Get more people that way, you know? Like, what was it? Oh, yeah, 95 IQ. That's not 95 IQ. That's not 90,000. 90,000 IQ, yes. No fun, only penance, only suffering. And that's going to surely get more people into our server and into our community. This is why I don't like the left and the right, as far as I'm concerned. There are two cheeks of the same coin, which is why I'm a libertarian and a strong believer in individualism, which the left doesn't like and the right pretends to. I think it's the American crusader mentality. Like, Americans cannot fathom that Europe isn't this way, but the crusader mentality is pretty much like, the way I live my life is perfect, and other people have to live my life, even if I don't know who the fuck they are. Like, if there's someone from Michigan, like, living somewhere, and he doesn't live his life exactly the way I want him to, then it's a problem. Should people be allowed to post live stream graphic pornography on YouTube because of free speech? Yeah, you know what? I think there should be like a slider where if you tune it in, it's an 18 only content. And if you're an adult and you have like a safe search function, yeah, I think that it should be on YouTube. Just like on Steam, you have adult games and they're gated behind a checkbox. Like you need to go on Steam, you need to go into option, right, to make sure that kids don't have access to it. Yeah, I don't see a problem with that. In fact, they used to back in the day. I remember when YouTube started, there was a lot of that content and the world didn't fucking end. Jesus fucking Christ, what a question. Like, should people be allowed? Why shouldn't people be allowed? Let's switch that up. Why shouldn't people be allowed to do that? I mean, is it something they do on Kick anyway? It's not like there aren't other platforms where people get to do it. Jesus. I remember there was a lot of people maybe too young to remember, but you could see pornography on television. It was after 12 p.m. So yeah, my standards is, if it's between consenting adults and it's legal, yeah, fine. Just make sure kids can't see it and it's good. You could go and rent VHS tapes with that shit. You still have it on YouTube, by the way. You still have it today. Like, for some reason, I don't know why, naked yoga is an exception. Or you have like various women that are naked and they're showing other women how to scrub or how to clean their cooch. Like, that's literally on YouTube right now, today, and it's legal. It's within the terms of service. They allow that. Why is it shocking? Where are you from, man? Like, in what family have you grown? Jesus, I'm genuinely curious about Mr. Fadrius. It's like, I'm genuinely curious about his lifestyle. Like, are you even like having like some testosterone in you? Like, are you just like, do you have any sex drive? Do you have any desires? You're acting very weird. You're like a monk. I mean, if you're asexual, that's fine. It's a new sexuality. But like, I genuinely don't get it. Like, you're so bewildered by things that are just normal. Like 10 years ago, no one would have cared. And they still don't care today if it's gay. Like, if it's part of the LGBT community, if it's like drag queen story hour telling shit to kids, like, that's fine. But the moment it's anything heteronormative, the moment you show a boobie, it shrinks your brain, it makes you dumb. It's like, okay, so like alcohol? No, it's even worse. It's like the cocaine. It's like, okay, so I'm going to be presidential now. Holy shit. If it was like cocaine, then why are people doing cocaine? Like, if it's like that, then, and one is legal, and one isn't, and one is free, and one isn't, maybe your studies are full of shit. By the way, I don't support, like, the concept of gooning, which is, like, doing it so often to the point where it interferes with your life, right? Like, before the word gooning, it used to be compulsory masturbate. Like, that is a problem. That's pathological. But every single straight man can relate with a titty. Like, I'm sorry, but the idea that, oh my god, straight men want to see naked women and this shocks and abhors you, and it's like, oh, they must be so dumb. They must be 90 IQ because they want to see a picture of women. Oh, society is crumbling. This is what happened in the Roman Empire. If the Roman Empire would have covered their women up, they would have been able to fight off against the barbarian hordes. Like, alright. Okay. Do you have these conversations outside the internet? I'm just curious, because it seems to be like terribly online people thinking. And it's mostly something that came out after 2020. I don't know what the pandemic did to people by keeping them in their houses, but they're coming up with such bizarre concepts. Instead of the satanic panic, it seems to be the boner panic now. It's like in every single video game, all female characters need to look like men. Every single thing needs to be like pro-LGBT. And if you show anything, like if you show a Victoria's Secret catalog, these people are freaking out. And it's like, oh, how is this possible? What is the world coming to? Oh. Case in point, Nikkei, excellent art and story. Yeah, pretty much, they're money printing out a day. Can we arrest MAGA cabinet picks before January 6th? I wouldn't be surprised if they're actually wondering that out loud. I'm not even really against porn on a basic level, but you're pretending that graphic pornography is free speech. That's not what I said. Rewatch the stream and understand my argument. I'm not saying that pornography is free speech, okay? I'm not saying that people should be able to walk with, like, a shirt that has, like, hardcore stuff on them in public. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I am saying is that I do agree that pornography should be restricted to adults. It should not be under the view of people that are underage, and it should not feature people that are underage. But with that said, I do not believe that Visa and MasterCard should be able to decide morality on the internet. Because if they decide morality on the internet, there are other things besides pornography that fall under the category of morality. And once they get people used to the fact that Visa and MasterCard can decide morality, they will go after political speech. Now, if you still can't understand that, then maybe you're way too high IQ for me to explain. Maybe I am actually 90 IQ and I just don't know how to put it in words so that you can understand. And this is not like an if thing. I'm sorry, my bad. It's not an if thing. It's what actually did happen. Like, this did happen back in 2018. Visa and MasterCard did start policing Patreon and policing other places. And they started with the porn, and then they moved up, and they started policing content like Sargon of Akkad and many other people. And the reason you always want to start with the porn is because no one is going to defend it. No one is going to say shit. So you get through the door with that. And once you got through the door with that, then you expand. It's how I would do it. Like, if you hired me in order to push for censorship, it's literally how I would do it. Because it's effective. Either that or with terrorism. Terrorism would also work. But you need to actually have terror attacks. And then you're like, okay, well, we need to protect people. So that is my actual argument. I don't know how else to put it. Anyway. Do you think Trump will declassify the Epstein client list? I don't think it's up to him. I think it's up to the judges, right? I mean, he can try to get it declassified, but I don't know if he can make it. Kick V, thank you for the donation subject to change. Anyway, V, he just NPC DOS attacks. I don't think he DDoSes me. I think he's an actual subscriber. I've seen him before. And I do think that he actually believes in the stuff that he says. For those of you who don't know, if you go on Twitter, this is what I've discovered. And once you discover this, Twitter becomes a much more pleasant experience. So, one of the ways that leftists argue, and this is also how Short Fat Otaku and many others argue, is by doing the DDoS attack. Well, actually, no, hold on. Short Fat Otaku doesn't argue like this. So what is a DDoS leftist attack? Well, according to this gentleman, which has coined the phrase, leftists are just a DDoS attack. They don't provide anything of value. They just want to waste your time and hog up resources. So basically what they do is like, what is woke? How do you define woke? And then they throw in an insult. And then they want to move the topic away from whatever it is you're talking into something else so that it diverts your resource. And the tactics that they are using are actually conservative tactics. But, sorry, my bad. They're not conservative tactics. It's just that a conservative made them, right? So, like, the tactics are apolitical. Anyone can do them. And right now, it's being done exclusively by the left on Twitter. So, the conservative that made them is called Karl Rove. And as you can see, engage. Demand an elaborate, time-consuming comparison or analysis between your position and theirs. Like, what is woke? Why is diversity a bad thing, right? Like, they just come in, they ask these questions, and then they expect that you would answer. Insist that the liberal put their post in their own words that will consume the most time and effort to the liberal poster. They will be unable to spread numerous points or numerous blogs if you have them occupied. Allowing a liberal to post a web link is too quick and efficient for them. Tie them up. We are going for the delay game here. Like, how many times did you not post a link and they go like TLDR, right? Dismiss their narrative as rubbish immediately. Do not even read it. Once the liberal goes through the trouble to research, gather, collate, compose, and write their narrative to your job is to discredit it. Make it obvious you toss their labor-intensive narrative aside like garbage. This will have the effect of demoralizing the poster. It will make them unwilling to expand the effort again, and for us that is a win. Because what happens is you eventually get a legitimate person. Like the guy in the chat. Disliking pornography, disliking the titty. Right? You get that, and he's a legitimate person, and you are used to dealing with leftists, and you just like dismiss them out of hand. And that makes you look unhinged. Attack the source. Any liberal website or information source must be marginalized, trivialized, and discounted. Let the blogosphere know that truth.org, thinkprogress.org, The Nation, and others are rubbish propaganda. Discredit liberal sources of information whenever possible. Challenge the liberal position with questions, always questions. The questions need not be relevant. The goal is to knock the liberal poster off their game and seize control of the narrative. Once you have control, you can direct the narrative to where you want it to go, which is usually like ad hominem attacks, you know, like bringing stuff from that person's past. Like, even right-wingers do it. Like, they talk to Destiny and they bring up the cocking and all of that, you know? This is why. Like, they don't... It's a tactic. It's not a tactic that's tied to an ideology. Leftists can do it. Right-wingers can do it. Your job is to prevent the presentation and spread of liberal viewpoints. Do anything you must to prevent a liberal poster from presenting a well-reasoned argument or starting a civil discussion. Don't allow a liberal to present their dogma unchallenged ever. Right? So, like, this was done by a conservative a couple of decades ago, and now liberals are doing it. And once you understand that they're doing the DDoS attack, which is basically filling you with rubbish so you can't do proper content, then it becomes a lot more manageable. Is this really by... I don't know. It doesn't fucking matter who is it made by. The tactics are there. Wasting your time in periodic battle is an excellent strategy. Yes, it is. That's why the swamp must be flooded. Anyway, chat, I need to go. Was fun. I hope you guys had fun.